The center cannot hold, so things seems to be falling apart for Cambridge University in England. This stems from the recent controversy from their ex-professor Jason Arday. We all know that Mr. Jason Arday was found deceased on Friday after he came under criticism, and those criticism, as I mentioned, is rightfully so. But Cambridge University doesn't seem to think so. So we have to ask the question, has Cambridge University becomes the intellectual ghetto? Let me remind you, this was an institution with over 800 years of impeccable reputation all over the world, but now it has fallen off. Things seem to be falling apart. The center cannot hold in the recent drama surrounding the late Mr. Jason Arday. As we all know, Mr. Jason Arday was a former employee of Cambridge University, which he became the youngest black professor in their sociology department. Speaking of the first young black professor, or the youngest black professor in the sociology faculty, I don't know if the first black of anything even worth mentioning. Let's say you are Boeing, and then you make the airplane, and then you already established that you make passenger planes, and then Airbus make it passenger planes after, and they say we are the first French airplane maker. That doesn't say much, because Boeing was the first to make airplanes, so that doesn't say much. Let's say iPhones, and a black man comes up and make an iPhone, and when they say, I am the first black man to make an iPhone, it would make no sense. So I don't know why they are so worked up about the first when they're already the first, or they already have been a first professor of sociology at Cambridge maybe some years ago. But here is some examples of what turned Cambridge University that it looks like an intellectual ghetto. The first, there were outlandish claims by Mr. Jason Arday, in which he says that he ran 35 marathons in 30 days. That is more than one marathon per day, and no one in the thinking tank of Cambridge University, which they should have many critical thinkers in that university, and not for a minute did anyone in the prestigious sociology faculty ever even think that it sounds too good to be true. Still talking about marathon, then he claims that he ran 600 miles in 6 days, doing 100 per day. And the place that event took place was from Edinburgh to London. Remember, he was the one who says or directly spell out the time that it took him. So he says 6 days, so that means it is 600 miles. But guess what? The miles from Edinburgh to the miles from Edinburgh to London is only about or roughly 400 miles. So that should be 4 days, not 6 days as he stated. And yet, no one in the thinking tank of Cambridge University ever do simple arithmetic and say, hey man, we don't think that is possible. You may have too many days here if you go by the math. And even what more bizarre, they are blaming YouTubers and probably the Telegraph of establishing these simple things that just doesn't add up. It is not the Telegraph or YouTubers who can see through these things. The first institution should have seen through these things should have been Cambridge University. No wonder they may coming across as the intellectual ghetto, because Mr. Jason Arday may be a diversity and inclusion candidate, so they prop him up, or he was their hand-picked candidate to show, since the Black Lives Matters, that no one ever thinks anymore, so they just roll with whatever is popular. Besides, he claimed that someone left a hoghead, I think, at his door. Imagine a person living in England and someone leave a hoghead at your door. I'm from the islands, and some people on the islands, let's say people in Kingston, Jamaica, some people there never even seen a hoghead in all their lives. And this guy living, I don't know if he live in London or where, but he's someone walking around with a hoghead and left it at his door. Come on, man. But of course, the Cambridge University wouldn't say that, especially the Faculty of Liberal Arts. They wouldn't have seen that because it's fit their narrative that leaving a hoghead at someone's door is something to do about racial biases, and that's what they want to push. That's the agenda they want to push to the front. Then there were incidents where white students of Mr. Jason Arday allegedly claimed that he wasn't a good tutor, and they complained against him to the faculty. And after that, what he did, or what it is alleged that he did, he flunked those students, didn't give them an A or B as it's reported. Finally, the most ridiculous claim that Cambridge University, or what it seems to be the intellectual ghetto, miss about Mr. Jason Arday's life is that he claimed that he couldn't read or write until 18 years old, when a girlfriend of his taught him how to read. Imagine it. He went to school in a first world country, suffered from autism, and the expert teachers in those field of teaching autistic students, they couldn't teach him to read and write, and miraculously his girlfriend, I don't know if she was a teacher or special ed teacher, but she was able to do what the professionals couldn't have done. And Cambridge University yet couldn't have seen this from afar. That something is totally bizarre about it. Furthermore, He learned to read and write at the age of 18, and by 32 or 33, he was a PhD, full-fledged professor. Could that be possible if you are the, I don't know if they call him principal of Cambridge? Would you believe a story like that? That someone takes 10 to 12 years to go through all those studies and gain a PhD? Even Einstein, I think, didn't excel as that, and Cambridge yet could put one and one together and see that something is totally off with most of these claims. This video is not about Mr. Jason Arday ordeal. This is about Cambridge when they fail to recognize things that doesn't add up. So their prestige have fallen, and instead of the prestigious university that they should have been, they now seems like the intellectual ghetto. This is not an attack on Mr. Jason's Arday career, but this is an attack on Cambridge, who fail to act as a university that has critical thinking skills, or what it seems. It just seems that they lack critical thinking skills, or they were hell-bent on DEI. So Cambridge University seems like they were using diversity, equity, and inclusion to effect social change, as they try to make the wrongs of the past to become right in present day. So they ignore, or seems to ignore, all the warning signals. But what does diversity, equity, and inclusion cost them? It let them seem like they lost their prestige and now look as an intellectual ghetto, to say the least. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and see you in the next one.